What is the worst thing a coworker has said about you to your boss? Not just what they said, but what they did or tried to do. They told the boss I was lazy and spent most of my shift on my computer. While I do bring my laptop to work from time to time, I don't always get to use it at work, and I certainly don't have time to be on it for 4 or 5 hours a shift. The way it was claimed, nothing would ever get done if I did. When I pointed it out to the boss, he became silent. I generally work alone, caring for 45 residents, so I literally don't have time to be on my computer for that long. I remember the boss calling me into his office and he just went all in on me, accusing me of being lazy and not doing my job, all based on something someone told him. No investigation, no digging, no questions to me about it. I asked him if he got his degree out of a Cheerio box. I told him that when someone comes to him about an employee, he is obligated to conduct a complete and proper investigation, and not to simply rely on what he is told. Disciplining or even terminating an employee based on that can leave him open to litigation, because not everyone is honest or has good intentions. I also point out that if that were the case, then day shift would come in to find nothing had been done by time date, and initial dressing changes and colostomy bags when I change them, and everyone can clearly see that. Same for check-in changes. There is always a ton of linen collected during the shift, and the trash gets taken out. But of course he counters that an empty trash and linen barrel isn't proof I get my work done. So to prove my point, I started leaving the barrels full and left it for the day shift to take care of. Now they are complaining that I'm not taking the trash and linen out. So I go back to the boss and point out that clearly I'm doing my job. So a coworker goes back to the boss and tells him that the trash doesn't get taken out on the second shift and that it's left over, and I am lying about doing my job. Okay, since I work double shifts, I take the trash and linen 30 minutes before the end of the second shift. I leave both barrels empty, and of course my coworkers see the empty barrels before they leave. They can't miss them because I leave them right by the door, and it's the only entrance and exit. Day shift arrives and both barrels are full. So apparently I did get something done. So that's the end of it, right? Wrong. Now coworkers are telling the boss that residents are soaking wet dressings, haven't been changed, and charting isn't done. Okay, so I decided not to go in one day, just called off. It's the day before my regular day off, so I don't go in for a few days. When I go back on my next scheduled shift, I get called into the boss's office again, where the boss is ready to write me up for not getting anything done. He goes on about how residents were found soaking wet, and the entire back hall smelled like piss. The shower room was a complete mess, and no one had supplies. So I asked him on what days this occurred. He tells me I quietly explained that I wasn't at work on the days in question. He looked pensive and then went to grab the staffing book. He opens it to the daily schedule and then turns it toward me. Someone penciled my name on the schedule. I simply pointed out that if I've been at work, I would have been clocked in. So my boss goes to check the time clock, and sure enough, I wasn't clocked in. So he goes to find the scheduler. She gives him my call-off slip. He brings it back to the office and sits back at his desk. Now he is getting angry because it's becoming apparent that his time is being wasted. I'm just sitting there quietly. Coworker is unaware that I'm in the office, comes and tells boss that I didn't do my job and I left a mess for them. I listen as the coworker tells the boss a pack of lies about what I've done over the past 2 days when I wasn't even at work. Boss decides to send me home for a while, tells me not to worry, I will be paid. So I leave. I got a call from boss to return to work a few days later. I later learned coworker was fired for making false reports. I never did learn why coworker was trying so hard to get me fired, but I did learn that I wasn't the only one.